If you're choosing between Perris and Riverside, this decision can either feel like a win for years or like a daily headache you didn't see coming. Because on paper, these two can look similar. Inland Empire, more space than LA, better value, but the lifestyle, commute reality, and even the feel of everyday life can be completely different. So today, I'm breaking it down clearly. Perris versus Riverside. The real pros, the real cons, and exactly who each day is best for, so you don't make an expensive mistake. Hi there, I'm Rebecca. I'm a realtor here in Southern California, and I'm also a licensed professional clinical counselor. And my job in videos like this is to help you make a smart, calm decision, not just fall in love with the listing photo. All right, let's compare Perris and Riverside in the way buyers actually live. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Perris often wins on more house for the money and a newer track feel in certain pockets. Riverside often wins on more established city, more amenities, and more variety of neighborhoods, but you'll typically pay more for that. And I'm going to walk through this in categories that matter. Let's go over the 5 categories. 1, price and home style. 2, commute and daily life. 3, lifestyle and amenities. 4, schools and neighborhood research. And 5, the hidden costs people forget. And then I'll tell you exactly what type of buyer should choose Perris and what type of buyer should choose Riverside. Let's start with the category most people care about first. Category 1, price, space, and the kind of homes you'll see. For value and space, we'll take a look. In general, Perris is going to give you that stretch your budget feeling more often. More square footage for the price, more yard potential, and in some areas, more newer build options. Riverside can absolutely have great value too, but it's a larger, more established city, and you're going to see a wider range of pricing depending on the neighborhood. Now, let's talk about the style of homes. In Riverside, you're more likely to find a mix: older neighborhood with character, some historic pockets, mature trees, and a more layered city vibe depending on where you are. In Perris, you're more likely to see tract neighborhoods, newer construction in certain areas, and a more suburban spread layout. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Do you want a city that feels more established and layered, even if it means less square footage? That's often Riverside. Or do you want more space and a newer layout, even if the city feels less built out in certain ways? That's often Perris. And neither is better, it's about fit. Let's dive into category 2, commute reality and what your weekdays feel like. This is where buyers get surprised because they're thinking in miles instead of minutes. And if you work in Riverside, near Riverside, or your daily life is centered around Riverside County, both Perris and Riverside can work. But the pattern of your commute will be different. Riverside often gives you more, I can stay in my city for more of my life. More job centers nearby, more errands and services without feeling like you're driving across town every time. And that's Riverside's advantage. Perris can still work beautifully, especially if your job and routine are more Inland Empire focused. But if you're commuting far west, you need to be honest about it. So here's my practical advice. Before you choose Perris or Riverside, test drive your real life. Do the commute at the time you'd actually do it. Not Saturday at 11 a.m., a normal weekday, morning and afternoon. Because if your commute drains you, your dream house starts to feel like a trap. And I don't want that for you. Let's dive into category 3, lifestyle and amenities. So let's talk Riverside. It tends to feel more like a full established city. More dining pockets, more local events, more things to do without planning a whole day around it. Perris, however, tends to lean more towards space and outdoors, and the lifestyle can feel more suburban and spread out. For a lot of buyers, that's a plus, not a minus. You get more breathing room. So ask yourself, are you someone who wants to pop out for coffee, dinner, a walkable area, and local events, and have a lot of that in one city? Riverside often wins there. Or are you someone who says, give me space, a yard, a quieter home space, and I'll drive for certain things, no problem. Perris can be a great match. Let's dive into category 4, schools and why you must shop by neighborhood, not by city name. This is important because, I'm going to say this clearly, in both Perris and Riverside, schools can vary and neighborhoods can also vary. So please don't buy it based on a city label alone. What we do instead is address level research. We look at the exact neighborhood, the exact boundaries, and the exact daily life factors that matter to you, like traffic, noise, lighting, condition of nearby streets, and your comfort level. And if schools are important to you, we verify what applies to that specific address, and we build your shortlist from there. This is where I also tell buyers, drive the neighborhood in the day, drive it at night, and if possible, drive it during a weekday when people are actually living their lives. Because that tells you more than any listing description ever will. So just a quick check, if you're deciding between Perris and Riverside and you want help because you're feeling overwhelmed or you just want to make the right choice based on your budget, your commute, and your comfort level, I can definitely help. We can make sure that you get a clear plan before you start touring homes. Just text the word compare to the number on screen and I'll be able to send you a quick set of questions and we'll get started on making this clear for you. We'll even do a comparison back to back. But let's dive back into category 5, the hidden costs people forget, because this really gets buyers. In both cities, depending on their neighborhood and home type, you could see HOAs in certain communities, special assessments like Mello-Roos in some areas, insurance differences depending on the home and location, and then the big one people forget, utility costs, especially during hot months. We're in the Inland Empire after all. So when you're comparing Perris versus Riverside, don't compare only the list price. Compare the full monthly picture. Mortgage, taxes, insurance, HOA that applies, and realistic utilities. Because the cheaper house isn't cheaper if the monthly lifestyle math doesn't work. All right, let's have a quick summary and explain this to you again in plain language. Perris tends to be strong of choice if you want more space for your money, newer tract option in certain pockets, quieter home base with outdoor lifestyle nearby, and you're okay driving a bit more for certain amenities. Perris tends to be harder if you commute far west every day and traffic drains you. You want a more built-out city feel right outside your door, or you don't want to do the extra neighborhood by neighborhood homework, because Perris really is pocket dependent. Riverside tends to be a strong choice if you want a more established city feel, more variety in neighborhoods and lifestyle, more amenities and local activities within the city, and potentially more options for keeping your life closer to home. Riverside, though, tends to be harder if your budget is tight and you need maximum square footage. You're hoping for a newer build at Perris level pricing, or you want a big yard without paying for it. So let's talk who should pick Perris versus who should pick Riverside. Here's my direct recommendation framework. Choose Perris if your priority is space, value, a newer layout, and a home that feels like a retreat, and your commute plan is realistic. Choose Riverside if your priority is a more established city feel, more amenities nearby, more variety, and you're okay trading some square footage to get that. And if you're still torn, that usually means we need to anchor this decision to 2 things: your commute tolerance and your lifestyle preference. Home base and space versus city and convenience. All right, friends, thank you for having this time with me today. Now you have the real comparison of Perris versus Riverside. If you want my help deciding which one fits your life best and you want a neighborhood shortlist that matches your budget and commute, make sure to sign up for that Zoom strategy session so that we can map it out together, and I'll make sure to help you make the right decision. Or text compare and we'll get started with that set of questions to help you and get to the right direction with clarity and calm. And if this video helped you, make sure to subscribe for more on living in Southern California, city breakdown, and comment the next verses you want me to do. I'm Tekeian, realtor here in Southern California, and I'll see you in the next one.